Welcome back to Thinking It Through. On today's episode, I would like to discuss why Bernie Sanders and his followers should be calling for election audits, recounts, and telling folks to wait for the court rulings. First, take a moment to like and subscribe. Share this video when you can. It's the best way to support the channel. So we all know Trump and his supporters are questioning the integrity of the 2020 election for a number of reasons. Trump's lawyers have filed claims in several courts and will be filing more in the days to come. So what are they asking for? A proper recount, an audit of the discrepancies, and rulings on issues where the law may not have been followed in the count. What's wrong with that? Every American should demand these things in a fair and free election. For the sake of this argument, let's suppose Trump is correct. The DNC and its minions fixed this election. What does that mean for the progressive movement? Well, let's take a quick history lesson. In 2016, the Democrats fixed their own primary and laughed in your faces. They promised you a seat on the platform in 2016, and when you agreed and gave them your vote, they locked the doors and told you to get lost. It seems that they're doing the same thing in 2020. You were helpful on Election Day. See you later. It surprises me how many Bernie supporters don't realize how and to the extent the DNC cheated in 2016. For source information, I've used Hillary Clinton's emails, Donna Brazile, and a writer named Rainer Shea, who is a Bernie supporter and self-described as countering the lies of capitalism and imperialism. Shea wrote a terrific piece about the timeline and extent of the cheating, and there's a link to the article in the description. If you look at the timeline, it puts out a clear and methodical plan by the Democrats to cheat. This was not a mistake, it was not a oopsie. This was a clear and well-thought-out strategy. First, Hillary took control of a broke and debt-ridden DNC by giving it money to keep the lights on and the salaries rolling. Second, she used the DNC's influence with the media to push her own stories and to downplay Bernie stories. The Bernie-friendly media actually had a name for this. They called it the Bernie blackout. The extent of this influence can't be understated. It included the Clinton campaign editing which photos and stories would appear, final say on quotes from Hillary that were to be used in Clinton profile pieces, and even some of their sycophant reporters like Glenn Thrush of Politico allowing the campaign to edit and have final approval of his stories. Media coverage has another perk. The constant reporting, no matter how false, that Hillary was ahead of Bernie in the polls and that the lead might be insurmountable has direct effects on fundraising, exposure, and voter consideration. Third, the DNC, pretending to be neutral, took in information from Bernie that was supposed to be confidential and not shared with the Clinton campaign. This information included mailing lists, donors, fundraising plans, and lists of supporters. The bought and paid for DNC turned it all over to the Hillary campaign. Fourth, the DNC funneled money to 33 state Democratic parties to buy their loyalty just before the primary. Fifth, the DNC could manipulate the primary debate schedule so that Sanders would get less exposure. There were allegations that the DNC's influence led to inconsistencies in places like Iowa and Nevada and claims of voter suppression in some states by closing polling locations and games played with the voting rolls, such as removing names. The seventh, and let's not forget this is very important, that DNC Chair Donna Brazile, by her own admission, leaked the debate questions to Hillary so that she would have a distinct advantage over Bernie. Some of this sound familiar? A loyal press to one party and voter irregularities? I would urge you to read this article in its entirety. It really does sum up 2016 and the theft of Bernie's chances at the White House. So why am I reminding you of all this? If the DNC gets their way with stealing this election, what do you think is going to happen to the progressive wing? First, old-school Democrats will put rules and laws in place that will make it easier for them to cheat next time. At that point, they control the voting process. That means no more than a few token progressive candidates will be allowed to run and actually win. Two, old-school Democrats will better be able to control the progressives that are in Congress. Toe the line or find yourself with a challenger who, thanks to fixed voting machines, will see your candidate gone. 3. If you thought these old-school Democrats would die off and you would be the face of the party in the future, think again. Corporations and the military-industrial complex are not going to want progressives running the show in Congress, and they will ensure that you're on the outside looking in. There's a great video that I put together on this channel called The RINO and the Crocodile. I've left a link below. It explains what happens to people who try to appease the Democrat Party. When you watch it, be sure to impose the word progressives when you hear the word RINO. It's the same thing. Once the DNC eliminates Trump, progressives are not going to be the opposition. You're going to be the enemy. In the short term, you think you'll have a victory by allowing this election to go on without an audit. In the long term, you will be standing there trying to explain why you can't get candidates into office. Remember, all the good intentions, canvassing, crowd sizes, and perceptions that you're right in the world aren't going to allow you to win elections if the vote is rigged. Joe Stalin said it best. It's not the people who vote that count, it's the people that count the votes. Act now or forever be at the mercy of the DNC. That's all I have time for today. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did I miss? Leave your comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this video when you can. And as always, thanks for watching.